Good morning. My name is Kenyatta Richmond, and I have the honor of serving as the Executive Director for Holistic Success Services here at Forsyth Tech. On behalf of the college, it is my honor to provide opening remarks for today's Veterans Program. Today, we gather in gratitude and unity to recognize the brave men and women who have served and continue to serve the United States Armed Forces. Veterans Day is more than a date on the calendar. It is a reminder of courage, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication to the principles of freedom and democracy. Here at Forsyth Tech, we are proud to be a community that values service, supports our student veterans, and strives to create pathways for their continued success, both in and out of the classroom. To our veterans, thank you. Your leadership, resilience, and commitment inspires us daily. Whether you served decades ago or are just transitioning from active duty, please know that you have a home here at Forsyth Tech. Let us not forget the families of our veterans, those who provided the love, support, and understanding through the challenges of military life. Your sacrifices are also appreciated. I also want to take a moment to recognize our Campus Veterans Resource Center and the staff, faculty, and student leaders who make sure that veterans on our campus are supported holistically, academically, emotionally, and personally. As we reflect today, may we recommit ourselves to the values our veterans have defended: service, integrity, and community. Thank you again for being here and joining us in honoring those who have given so much for us all. We will now have the presentation of colors by Reagan High School JROTC and the singing of our national anthem. Would everyone please stand? Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? You may be seated.
Good morning. Wow. Miss Shannon Stanley, that was beautiful. Very beautiful. Uh, we are now going to have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Southwest Elementary School.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America, and to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may all be seated. Well, good morning, administrators, faculty, staff, special guests, and most importantly this morning, our veterans. Welcome to the 2025 Veterans Recognition Celebration. My name is Don DiLorenzo. I served aboard the USS Concord, honorably discharged back in 1991. And I'm a student here. Yes, kids, even older people still go back to school. And I am presiding this event today. It's my honor. So this occasion is in honor and celebrates our veterans and recognizes you all for your level of professionalism, your service, your leadership, dedication, and commitment to excellence that you have demonstrated to our great country. It was our President John F. Kennedy who once said, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not just to utter words, but to live by them." So we truly believe that each of you have lived by these words and your love for this country. And for this, we say thank you. And would you all please join me in celebrating our veterans today with a round of applause. Yes. Thank you, yes. Now I would like to welcome to the podium Forsyth Technical Community College's Chief Officer, Innovation and the Future of Work, Dr. Alan Murdoch, for the welcome. So let's welcome him at this time.
Good morning. So it looks like I got promoted this morning. Turns out I'm not really the college president. Please don't let her know that I am stealing her thunder. All right. My name is Alan Murdoch. I'm the Chief Officer of Innovation and the Future of Work here at Forsyth Technical Community College. And thank you for being here today. It is an honor it's an honor to be here today as we gather to recognize and celebrate the veterans in our community, those who have worn our nation's uniform and those who continue to serve in new ways every day. At Forsyth Tech, we talk often about being a place of promise. That promise means something powerful on a day like today because our veterans embody what it means to keep a promise to one another, to our communities, and to our country. Their service reflects courage, sacrifice, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. As we honor that service, we also recognize the incredible contributions veterans make to our classrooms, our workforce, and our future. Veterans bring discipline, leadership, and resilience, which are qualities that inspire everyone around them. They know how to work as a team, how to solve problems under pressure, and how to lead with integrity. These are exactly the strengths that make our college and our community stronger. Forsyth Tech is deeply committed to helping veterans and their families transition from military service to meaningful civilian careers. Whether it's through flexible learning options, dedicated support services, or career pathways that build on the skills they've already earned, we are here to make sure every veteran can grow and continue to succeed. Today's celebration is a reminder that our gratitude should be reflected in our actions, our programs, and our ongoing commitment to those who've served. To all veterans here with us today, thank you. Thank you for your service, your courage, and your example. You remind us that leadership isn't just about rank or title, it's about purpose, perseverance, and heart. We are honored to serve you just as you have served all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Murdoch. At this time, we will have a military melody video presentation, and we ask that all veterans or active duty servicemen and women to please stand and be recognized when your branch of military is presented. Hey, that was pretty cool. So at this time, will you stand and join me for a moment of silence in remembrance of all the veterans we have lost? Thank you. You may be seated. Now, I would like to welcome back to the podium Southwest Elementary for a special poem.
V is for very reliable.
E is for everyday protecting.
T is for terrifically helpful.
E is for everyday working hard.
R is for respectful.
A is always for fighting for freedom.
N is for never give up.
S is for super to help fight for our country and our freedom.
Well, thank you, Southwest Elementary, for such an inspirational poem. That was beautiful. And it is my honor at this time to introduce our keynote speaker. He's Rear Admiral Cedric E. Pringle. Admiral Pringle is a native of Sumter, South Carolina, and a retired Rear Admiral of the United States Navy. He earned his bachelor's degree from the University of South Carolina and a master's degrees from Naval Postgraduate School and the Naval War College. During his distinguished 34-plus year career in the Navy, he led a wide range of organizations, including commanding 2 ships, commanding a joint task force that provided relief operations in Haiti following Hurricane Matthew, and commanding a Navy strike group with over 15,000 sailors and Marines, and commanding the National War College at National Defense University in Washington, D.C. through the pandemic. He also served as director of the Navy's Senate Liaison Office, where he facilitated enduring relationships between Department of Navy leaders, U.S. senators, and key Senate staff members. Following retirement, he was elected as the 25th president of the National Naval Officers Association, the NNOA, which supports the sea services in recruiting, professionally developing, and retaining officers. His leadership and service reflect the very spirit that we honor here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Rear Admiral Cedric Pringle.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to use this speech. Stayed up to 4 a.m. and actually hopefully I can walk around a little bit because that's kind of what I do. But when I look at the crowd and when I look at America's future, when I look at the students from Southwest Elementary School, it gives me hope. And it also reminds me, one, when you read my bio, it reminds me I'm a lot older than I look. But I've been blessed and I've been very fortunate with the things that I've been able to do with God on my side. And I will talk a lot about that. So since I also commanded at the War College, and I understand that this is an institution of higher learning, I've understood my assignment today. So my assignment today is to do three things. One, I'm going to give a few thank yous. Two, I'm going to probably shift back into Navy recruiter mode and talk to some of our young students. And I'm going to talk to you about some of the things I did when I was a little bit older than you, going into the Navy for the first time and just overwhelmed by it all. But I was utterly prepared to do it because of the upbringing that my folks provided for me and my brothers and sisters. And it allowed me to do all those things that we just talked about. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to capture why we serve, why veterans serve, and make it make sense. But first and foremost, I do want to thank the host, Forsyth Technical College, for inviting us here. Ms. Velez has been chasing me around the nation for the last year or so, and I was invited to be the guest speaker last year, and unfortunately I couldn't make it. I had a great friend of mine step in, Captain Julia Winslet, and she did a phenomenal job last year. So I know that the bar has been raised as far as that's concerned. But Ms. Velez, I wanted to thank you because you've been very patient and very flexible with me in managing my schedule and getting me here. So thank you very much for your professionalism. And in the Navy, we would say you run a tight ship because you have dotted the I's, you've crossed the T's, and this is a phenomenal event. And I may come back next year just to sit in the back and be a part of it. So we'll make that work. I also want to take this opportunity just to thank a few more folks. I did a little research this morning and noticed that your president was just awarded the Southwest Region CEO Award. And her leadership for this institution just permeates everything that you do. That's why this program works. That's why your programs work. That's why this is such a key part of this community. And I just wanted to congratulate her on that. But since she's not here, I'll congratulate you instead, Dr. Murdoch. And the last thing I wanted to do before I talk a little bit about my own personal journey, I want to thank the veterans. The veterans are, you're the backbone to a lot of the things that our nation has accomplished over its 250-year history. And I'll share some stories about myself and talk a little bit about me starting in a little town called Sumter, South Carolina, about 45,000 people, being the youngest of six. So by the time it was my turn to go to college, all the money had dried up. So I went in on a Navy scholarship, and that was fine. But I had no idea that my service would stay around. I would be there for as long as it was, 34 years of serving. Nor did I know that I would get to go to the places that I wanted to go, because when I was your age, I literally wanted to travel, wanted to maximize my education and see how far I could get with that. And then I also wanted to be challenged. I didn't want anything that was too easy. So I was just talking to Samantha and Lucy down there about their aspirations as far as STEM classes and math classes. And Samantha wants to be an engineer, so good on you. We can talk Navy a little bit later and get you commanding a ship and doing all the same stuff that I did. But I will tell you that, especially for the youngsters, do not shy away from those hard classes. Maybe you won't have all the cool kids in those classes, but that's fine. It pays off in the end. If you're taking your hard math classes, your hard science classes, those open the doors for you to do a lot of other things, some of which I'll cover. So as I grew up in Sumter, South Carolina, my folks literally had the humblest of humble beginnings. Dad was a textile worker. Mom was, I like to call it a custodial engineer. You would know it as a maid. And we were fortunate because we had 3 adults in the house. Our grandmother also lived with us, my paternal grandmother, but she was also a maid. But you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know that they had a household income of less than $25,000 based on the way we all turned out, and I think we turned out okay. But what they instilled in us was three things, and it took me a while to actually grow up and look back and realize it. They instilled three really key things. One was to dream big. Have a dream, make sure you pursue that dream. And the second part was work hard. You get nothing in this world without working hard. So it's absolutely useless to shy away and look for the shortcuts, look for the easy path. You may as well embrace it. You may as well do your best at it and see where it goes. And then lastly, it was to never quit. If your goal, in my case, it was to command a ship, if that's your goal, then you have to figure out what it is that you need to do to be on that path. And I will tell you that after I went to University of South Carolina, my very first ship in the Navy was one of the ships you saw on the screen there, the big aircraft carrier. So you're talking about literally a floating piece of America with 5,000 sailors and Marines on it. But also, that ship had about 100 aircraft on it, and we were already overseas doing the nation's business. So for a young man coming out of South Carolina, it was overwhelming. You're talking about a ship that's longer than 3 football fields, that's taller than a 15-story building. So needless to say, I was overwhelmed is the word I'll use. But I fell back on what my parents and my grandmother taught me, which was to dream big. So instead of me shrinking into a shell and shying away from the challenge, I stepped up. I volunteered to take the hardest job on the ship for junior officers. I volunteered to go to engineering, and you know what that's like. Everyone else is trying to go in the opposite direction because of the long hours, the complexity of the job. Ships make their own water, they make their own food, they make their own electricity, and they're out there doing that while they're operating, launching aircraft, shooting missiles, doing everything that a ship does. My mindset was, if I take the absolute hardest job and do the best at it, everything else will work out. And so after taking that job, I was rewarded with more hard jobs because they said, hey, we got one. And that was fine. That was fine. I wanted to make sure that I tested myself to the limits. When I left that ship about 3 years later, I was the only junior officer with all three qualifications, one in engineering, one as the officer of the deck. The officer of the deck is the person that's responsible for that whole ship when the captain's asleep. And it's an amazing amount of responsibility for a young 20-something-year-old to manage that and understand what to do in good times and bad. But it was rewarding for me personally to do that. And then the last part was my surface warfare officer pin. And as a surface warfare officer, not only are you responsible for knowing your ship, you have to know the capabilities of all the other ships around you, the weapons ranges, all that other stuff, and the ships of your enemies. And so it was dare I say it, it was a big deal. But it was exactly what I wanted to do, and to me, I think it was just a blessing to be able to be in that position. So from that job, I actually went to Navy recruiting just so that I could go back to the high schools and the colleges and talk about Navy opportunities and what the Navy had done for me. Fast forward about 20 years later, I had an opportunity to command a big ship because that's all I wanted to do. That's what was on my brain. And I had an opportunity to command a brand new ship. The first ship was an old ship. There's some challenges there with steam and things like that. The new ship was the Navy's first hybrid electric drive ship with gas turbine engines. So you've got gas turbine engines like you do on a plane for high speed, and you've got electric motors that keep the lights on for low speed. All ships in our Navy do business the same way. They'll sprint to the scene of the action, and then they'll slow down and loiter off the coast of somebody's, whatever the country of interest is, regardless of what we're doing. And they all do business the same way. So what we figured out is that is a phenomenal way to save you taxpayer dollars and fuel costs. And so we were actually the first to test that out Gremlins and all, it wasn't perfect. But the thing I loved most about that ship was the crew. And we embraced a culture of constant improvement and a culture of by the book. And my concept was, if we follow the book, then we've got at least a 50-50 chance of getting it right. If you don't follow the book, you're not going to get it right. But everything in the military has written guidance on how to do it. Every piece of equipment, every leadership challenge, there's always some guidance that's already been written. Where a lot of people fail is they fail to read the book, or when they open the book, they just don't apply what's been written, nor do they capture lessons from others who've done similar things. So we developed the culture on our ship, although we were the first to kind of do it. We were also documenting it along the way to figure out, okay, this wasn't quite right, and the engineers in the lab that designed the ship didn't think about being at sea in rough times and seas and how that would interface with the weapon system. So here's what you need to change. And we fed that right back into the system. So, but the thing I really liked is that we also looked at the human aspect of it and figured, how do we get our crew to be better? So we stood up our own university, Macon Island University, and we started training our sailors, sending them back through those math and English classes so that they can then go back and take the ASVAB. And then compete for some other rating. So that was a special time because not only did we win all of the operational awards, we also won the personnel awards, and that ship also volunteered, and we mentored a couple of schools there in the San Diego area, and won the President's Volunteer Service Award. So that was special. But what I didn't know, all I wanted to do was command a ship. I didn't know what that could lead to. And following that tour, I was selected to work on Capitol Hill. And in all honesty, at first I thought I'd fallen from grace. I went from having a 5,000 person ship and a whole lot of responsibility to sitting in an office right next to my junior lieutenants. And I'm like, what happened? So that was my mindset for about the first couple of months or so, just really getting used to being in a completely different environment. Things move at a different pace. And you guys know what I mean by that. It's Congress. It's not designed to move fast. But what I did learn from one of my lieutenants took me on a tour all around the Capitol, and we went to the Capitol Visitor Center, and he said, hey, Captain, I was a captain at the time. Hey, Captain, you know you don't have to take your meetings in the office. You can do that anywhere on the Capitol grounds. I'm like, you're right. That's a good idea. And so I never did any more meetings in my office. I'd meet them in the Capitol Visitor Center or in the Rotunda or someplace else where we actually not only just enjoyed a cup of coffee and conversation, but we also absorbed American history. And when I was there, that's where I really got a clear understanding of what the founding fathers were thinking when they dreamt up America. I mean, honestly, it's kind of similar to what my parents were instilling in us. Dream big. Our founding fathers were dreaming big. They were taking on the British Empire, for God's sakes. So for them to actually have that level of a dream and put it into motion and put in the work, they definitely work hard to launch our country. And they never stopped. And they understood that our democracy is something that needs to be refined and worked on every single day. But what I also realized, that job had two parts to it. One was kind of being on Capitol Hill, networking with the senators and with the staffers, interacting with them, moving information from big Navy to the senates and the staffers on Navy-related issues. That was a part of the job. But the most fun part was actually the congressional delegation trips, where we literally would get a few senators together and we would jump on a plane and fly to a country of interest to talk about America's interests. And it's just interesting right now, if you look in Eastern Europe and the conflict that's going on there, we've been to those countries. The senator that I had the opportunity of escorting more times than anyone else was Senator John McCain. And so the neat part about it was that everyone knows that he was a servant and a servant leader. And it was just amazing to see the response that countries provided for him. Regardless of what your politics are, they understood that he felt a special kind of way about our country and its success. So everywhere we went, he got the red carpet rolled out, and it was always a busy schedule because we would literally leave Washington, D.C. on a Wednesday night, fly across the Atlantic, drop in a country on Thursday night, drop into a country on Friday morning, meet with our embassy, meet with the country team, and then from there do a press conference, and then from there go to meet with our host nation, and then we'd do dinner, and then we'd check into the hotel and knock the wrinkles out of the suit, and we'd get up the next day and do it again in a different country. We could hit 4 or 5 countries over the course of a weekend. So phenomenal job, just really exciting. I had no idea that my service would lead me to that position, but it gave me a really good perspective on everything that America stands for. And I will tell you that as I thought about my service, it takes me to why would the founders do what they did in the face of the British Empire? And to me, it's simple. And I boiled it down to 4 things, and this is, I feel that all of us who've served have some variation of this. And those 4 things are faith, family, freedoms, and our future. And for me, the faith piece of it cannot be missed because our country is built on faith. It's a leap of faith just for us to actually be here today having this conversation and talking about how great our nation is. But the bottom line is every individual that's also served, you have to have faith. When you're out there on a ship and you see nothing but water in every direction, and it's like that for 100 days in a row, you have to have faith in the equipment. You have to have faith in your team. You have to have faith that we've gotten it right at the strategic level with our Constitution and the oath of office and everything else that kind of governs us. We've gotten that right. But you also have to have faith that tomorrow's always going to be a better day. And to me, that's one of the huge parts of it. And going back to my teachings from my folks, I was taught very early in life that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. But they were also quick to point out, that was Hebrews 11:1, but they were also quick to steer me towards James 2:17, faith without works is dead. So you always have to put in the work. Secondly, from a family standpoint, we do what we do for our families, period. Whether it's providing them food, shelter, whatever the case may be, protecting them, that's what we do, that's who we are. And that's not just veterans, that's all of us. And I've had the opportunity to go to 77 different countries over the course of my life. And I will tell you, one, America is still the place that I want my kids and grandkids and great-grandkids to grow up. But everybody in every single country is just trying to do life, period. But I feel that the freedoms portion of the conversation is where we sometimes make some steps forward and then backslide a little bit. But our country is based on the concept of freedom. And I think it's worth us continuing to move in that direction, in a positive direction, because all of those other countries that I visited, they actually look to us for leadership. Whether we want it or not, whether we do it or not, they look to us for leadership. And I am absolutely not going to get political, but I will tell you that we don't have an immigration problem in America. We have an American dream problem where people want to be here and they want their kids and their grandkids to have the opportunities just like we had. So that's faith and family, and that's freedoms to a literal extent. But the future piece of it is clear as day to me. Everybody wants their children to stand on their shoulders to reach a little higher. I know for a fact, my father with an 8th grade education wanted us to stand on his shoulders, and we have. Our kids are standing on our shoulders. My grandkids are standing on my kids' shoulders. But that's how humans approach life. And to me, I think that is also worth fighting for. That is also worth voting for. That is also worth being engaged because the fellowship that we have in this country, I'm not saying it's unique because other countries have that as well, but to me, it is definitely something that's inspired me throughout my entire life. And I will tell you that it is certainly worth serving, being a servant leader, and it's certainly worth doing all the work that you can to keep the foundation as solid as possible. So with that, I will say thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank God for blessing us to be here today. And I do have one request. I'm sorry. So I've got to read this because I don't want to get it wrong. So as I thought about the remarks today, I came across another Bible verse, and it says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." To honor our veterans, I have a simple request. When you offer your daily prayers, please remember our active duty men and women. Ask God to grant wisdom to both their leaders and those who they lead, so that all of us who are responsible for our service members may guide them wisely. This is a simple yet powerful request. Pray for wisdom for everyone entrusted with the care of our men and women in uniform. Thank you for your service, and may God continue to bless you and our great nation.
Wow. Thank you, Admiral Pringle. Your words truly inspiring. I don't want to read off what I had. I just want to go off my heart and say, I thank God for leaders like you. Sincerely, right? We need more leaders like yourself. And to you younger people out there, I hope you're paying attention because those were some wise words of wisdom. Amen. And before I introduce Miss Ann Everett to the podium, I would just like to say personally, thank you for this opportunity to preside over you today. And my wise words of wisdom would be, put God first, y'all. That's all I got to say. So at this time, I'd like to invite Miss Ann Everett to the podium for a special recognition. Please join me in welcoming her.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I know what it's like to grow up with an amazing set of parents and some wonderful family, so that goes a long way in my heart. Thank you for sharing that. Today, what a day. Just looking out at all of you, and you know, it's kind of neat that today is the Marine Corps birthday, 250 years, right? Whoop, whoop. I get to say that because I'm married to a Marine over there. But as you know, the privilege I have today is to share some quilts of valor that we are going to present to some very well-deserving veterans. And I would like to ask each of these veterans if you can come up and stand here. The first one I'd like to invite is Mr. Matthew or Matt Mailer. Matt, if you can come up. Awesome. And the second veteran is our own PJ Sluter. Whoop, whoop. Thanks, PJ. And you can come up, you can stand right here, and then PJ next to him. And then the other person that's here that we're thrilled to have as well is PJ's dad, who is a Marine. Please come up, Paul Sr. And again, what a great set of recipients today. We're so excited to have you. And, again, there's a lot of humility here because, sometimes people don't want to be in the limelight. None of them usually want to be in the limelight. And, and that's, our goal is not to embarrass or to, put too much light on you guys, but you know what? You guys deserve these quilts of valor, and your service, your dedication, everything that you do matters. It mattered then, and it matters now. So I do want to just do a little bit of an introduction. So Paul Sr. was in the Marines, so thank you and happy birthday to the Marines for you today. And PJ, this has been a long time coming because you were on my list for a while. PJ is our IT department, and he served in the U.S. Army, so I thank you for that. And while I don't know Matt, I got to know him through what Walt sent me, and I want to just share a little bit about Matt's service and what he does, and a part of why we're honoring you today. So Matt is such a dedicated community and veterans advocate. He is a committed supporter of veterans. It's one thing to be a veteran, but it's another thing to support fully other veterans, and this guy is right on there. So he is a proud Sir Knight of Columbus in Kernersville. He devotes his time to service projects that bring comfort and resources to others. So each year during the Lenten season, he helps lead the fish fry dinners, which I need to find out about, and ensures that the food is delivered to Veterans Helping Veterans Heal Center in Winston-Salem. He also extends service through the Lamb Foundation of North Carolina, where he supports initiatives that assist individuals with intellectual disabilities across the state. He also helps distribute Stars for Our Troops, which is a pack, and my dad received one of those. It's a wonderful little mission that they honor service members with retired U.S. flag stars. So they're stars from U.S. retired flags, and I'll tell you, that blessed my dad a whole lot. So thank you. He also is a member of the Holy Cross Seniors Club, and as that, he coordinates the signing and delivery of Christmas cards to numerous veterans organizations. He does stuff with NC Triad Honor Flight, the DAV Chapter 20, Greensboro Veterans Center, the Operation North State, the ARA Home for Women Vets, which is great, the ABCCM's Veterans Restoration Quarters, and several VA medical centers across the North Carolina and beyond. For more than a decade, Matthew has also played a key role in sorting, cataloging, and loading donated Girl Scout cookies, okay, which cannot be underestimated. And he does that with distribution to VA medical centers, Kernersville, Durham, Salisbury, and Asheville, as well as Fayetteville VA medical centers, and our own Veteran Resource Center. Now, don't all rush over there and try to get some cookies, okay? It's not going to happen. But that is awesome, and that brings a lot of joy to our veterans. So through his faith, community involvement, and steadfast dedication, Matt Mailer exemplifies service to others, making a lasting impact on both his local community and the lives of many, many veterans. So thank you for that. So obviously, these three gentlemen are very deserving. And so we have 3 quilts of valor, one for each of you. And these guys are going to show you them. And actually, maybe we can open them up. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the quilt of valor and why we do these, okay? So you can each have them opened up. And so what we do, so the Quilts of Valor organization is dedicated to presenting quilts to deserving veterans, okay? The mission of the Quilts of Valor is to cover service members and veterans with comforting and healing quilts, okay? So you can open each of them up. I know it's a little tricky. You might have to hold one end up, I don't know, because I think we have a few less guys. Jim, you want to come up and help? Thank you. And anybody else that wants to. So one of the things that we do as we look at these quilts, okay, the front of the quilt, they're made out of 4 parts, okay? There's what's called the top, which is this front of the quilt, okay? There's the batting in the middle, there's the backing, and there's the binding that goes around, okay? Now, each of these parts have a meaning, okay? And when we quilt them as quilters for veterans, this is what we're thinking, okay? The front of the quilt, guess what? It's made up by what? A lot of different colors, different shapes, different sizes. That's our nation, folks. We are a nation of different colors, different sizes, different shapes. And we are all dependent on the protection of the people who serve in the military. The batting inside, which you can't see, that's what makes a quilt warm, okay? And that represents the support given to you by your family, your friends, all of the people here, the Veterans Resource Center, all the different centers that support our veterans, okay? The backing of the quilt, it provides strength and stability to the other layers. It represents your strength and your stability throughout the years, not only during your military service, but just plain in life, that integrity that you have. And the last piece that gets put on the quilt is the binding, and it goes all the way around. And one of the things as a quilter we do is we use an angular hidden seam. And that's so it makes it really hard to find where that is. Where did it start and where did it end? You won't find it. Well, you might, but don't look that hard. But what that represents is the fact that our gratitude for your service is unending. You are never going to find it or get to the bottom of our gratitude. So thank you for your military service, and thank you for your support of other veterans that you've done so well, and you guys are well deserving. So take these home. You can use them. You can get Tabasco sauce on them. They're washable. They're meant to be used, but you can do anything you want. Some people hang them. Some people use them. But I love the thought of this. You curled up with this on a game night. So enjoy.
By the way, I could have used this driving over here this morning.
There you go. Thank you both so much, especially PJ. Love you, man. And I have the bags, so I'll bring the bags over. We can fit them in. They do fit in the bag, so I'll get them back in there. Thank you guys so much. No, he's holding it like a flag. But you can take it with you, and I'll bring you the bags afterwards. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
That is so sweet. That is so sweet. Here you go, Paul. All right, you follow him. We'll get you the bags. Thank you.
So we have one surprise, one last surprise, right? So good morning again. I was going to say afternoon, but it ain't even afternoon yet. We're going fast. So I'd like to take a few moments today to honor someone very special. She's a daughter and a wife of a military veteran. Know that she is a true servant leader. Could you please welcome Miss Ann Everett?
I don't know what they're going to talk about.
I don't know what's going on. Ann stands out every single year through her dedication, generosity, and a heart for others. She always is giving. She gives her time, her energy, and her love. To to make sure that others feel appreciated, especially during our Veteran Day celebration. She has done this a lot. And thank you. Anne doesn't just participate, she creates an atmosphere of love, respect, and gratitude for everyone around her. She has a passion for seeing others succeed, and she lives her life with faith, strength, courage, and discipline. Anne puts God first in all that she does, and it shines through in the ways she serves and uplifts others. And Walt and I want you to know how deeply we value you. You are not only inspiration to our Veteran Resource Celebration, but also in the lives of your friends, your family, and your community. You are a blessing to us all. As a wife and a daughter of a veteran, today we honor you for your unwavering heart, your selflessness. You're an inspiring example. Not too long ago, you shared a story with us, and it is a true example of who you are and how you are every day. Thank you, Anne, for all that you do and all that you are. Thank you.
What's going on here?
A little while ago, Ann shared a story with us, the journey of the Chrysothea moth. Now, I may be mispronouncing it, but the intent and the love is there. The metamorphosis of the moth is something incredible. Ann explained it to us and it made sense. So read about the Chrysothea moth. And at this time, we'd like to give her our love, our challenge coin of Chrysothea moth from the Veteran Resource Center at Forsyth Tech.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. And he almost got it right. It's the Cecropia moth. It was so close, but the cool thing is, moths and butterflies, you know, I have a collection. I know I'm kind of weird. But the cool thing about things that turn from what, a caterpillar or that into a moth or a butterfly, one interesting thing about them is when they're inside that chrysalis, they have to really work hard to get out of that chrysalis. And what's interesting, you sit there and you go, oh man, maybe I can help them. Maybe I can kind of cut it open a little and they can get out easier. But it's the struggle of that that actually helps their wings to fully inflate. Because if they don't struggle while they're in there, they're not going to fully inflate. So what a beautiful picture of life, right? Sometimes we have to deal with really hard things and struggle through things. But guess what? That's what helps us fly. So don't forget that. So that is just beautiful. Thank you. Hey, can I move down?
Yes, you can. Down.
At this time, we'd like to invite Reagan High School Air Force JROTC to now retire the colors. I ask you all to rise, please. Please stand.
may be seated. I think we've said good morning a whole bunch of times. So, my name is Sharice Velez. I'm the counselor here at Forsyth Tech. I just want to let everybody know that we are doing videos in our art gallery for what Veterans Day means to you. If you would like to participate, you're more than welcome to participate. So we've came to the conclusion of this great occasion. On behalf of the Veterans Resource Center, Foundations, John Motley, Southwest Elementary, Reagan High School, Admiral Cedric Pringle, Kenyatta Richmond, and Dr. Alan Murdoch, and Ann Everett, thank you so much. We would like to thank all students, faculty, staff, special guests for joining us this afternoon. And a very special thank you to all of our active duty servicemen and women and veterans for all that you do and have done for our great country. Let's give another hand. At this time, we'll have a moment of reflection as we prepare for the reception. I want to say thank you to everyone and have a great morning still, but we'll have lunch. Our caterers are placing lunch in the back. Please stay, mingle, but as soon as lunch is set up, you're able to get your lunch. You guys can hang out. If you want to eat at the tables, you're more than welcome to eat at the tables, but enjoy your lunch. Thank you.